Who was on here first? Bob, were you here first or Jeff?
Jeff was.
Jeff. Maybe he has permission to record or something.
Well, I think you were being made the host according to what Jan had said.
I think so, but I think that if the first person on is the one who automatically becomes the host. So I guess what I'm going to suggest is that whoever was on first, check and see if their record button works, because mine
that would have been me.
Okay.
And let's see what my record button says.
There should be
Please ask the host to give you permission to record.
The same thing. So what do we do here?
Give yourself permission.
There's a backup. Yes, Rob? Okay. Okay. Okay.
I think you may have rescued us, Rob, because looking at the participant list, I don't see anybody marked as host.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Rob. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Jan is host. According to my meeting information button, it says Jan Culberson is the host.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
that little green shield in the upper left.
Meeting information. I didn't know about that. Yeah, it says Jan Culbertson is.
Oh yeah. Well, that thing's kind of hiding up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, well, now we know. And we do have backup, so we are protected that way. And let's see. Just checking to see who we have here. Let's say I will call the meeting to order. It's 7:03. And what is our... We need to adopt the agenda. Can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
So I'll support.
Okay. Charlie and Bob. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Okay. Communications and correspondence. I think there's nothing that I'm aware of. Presentations, none tonight. Public comment. Would you like to talk to us, Rob, about what you were talking about before?
Parks.
Monday, yes.
Parks.
Good point.
Yes, thank you. I thought they did a great job the other night. And I think that that's an excellent point that we need to take into consideration as something to nudge people in the township to be doing. Anyway, any other public comment? Pam?
Pam, and I'm gonna actually start my video. Good evening, Pam Boyd, a Scio resident. I'm a little disjointed. We became new first-time grandparents yesterday, and we ran dinner over to son-in-law and daughter. I didn't get quite as prepared for this meeting as I'd hoped to be. In particular, there's a recycling letter from the city of Ann Arbor that I've not been able to read through, but basically it looks like they are cutting back on what they recycle, which brings me to my main comment is that instead of focusing a lot of your attention on the big things, the EV cars, solar panels, is to engage more residents by doing smaller things, such as composting. Jeff, I'd love to take a composting class. So the building blocks to make a solid foundation that all residents can build on, because not all residents can afford the more expensive things, but you want to try to make sure they're all inclusive. And one reason why I'm having my video on is to show you my interior storm window. So before we made our addition, and this is a small window, it is made out of just wood and the sticky tape that you might put to block wind through, or I forget what you call it. A lot of duct tape, but museum grade plastic, and it's on both sides. So it really gives you a nice R value. When we originally built these, we had our 1966 original aluminum windows. And as a lot of people know, aluminum windows aren't very efficient. And then we built an addition, and we decided to go ahead and put the interior storms into our addition windows, even though they're, highly rated. We just felt we wanted that extra oomph. And this last winter, when we had an early, really cold snap in October, I've got heated floors in my bathroom, and I walked in and I was telling John, I think the heated floors aren't working. Why is it so cold in here? Well, he said, everything is fine. He says, but the interior storm isn't in the window. And I'll be darned if 12 hours after putting that interior storm in, the room felt normal heat. So there are YouTube videos. My husband can show people how he did it. We've done upgrades on our various methodologies of putting them together. But there are tons of YouTube videos on it. But it's an inexpensive way and an easy way for the average Joe or Jane to help cut down on their energy costs. And so I'm really strongly advocating that in addition to the bigger ticket items, that you create a series of YouTube classes or something that's easy for people to log into at their own leisure, to work towards a better goal. So I'll end there. Thank you very much.
Very good. We are talking about that kind of thing, Pam. So yeah.
Awesome.
Glad to hear that from you. So
awesome.
Let's see where we are.
Can I jump in, Kathy, real quick?
Jump in.
I know that Ann Arbor cut back some time ago on the types of plastics and the shapes of the plastics is accepting. If this is another change, I'm not aware of it yet. Pam, would you mind forwarding?
Yeah, I'll
information?
look for that, and I'll send you what I find. And again, I'll apologize. It's been a crazy week, and so I haven't read the letter completely. So, but I think that that's what they were saying. Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, that's great. And yes, in fact, we are working on some small steps too, in addition to the big ones. Charlie and I are meeting with Will and Joyce tomorrow to discuss one such small step.
Perfect.
Great. Okay, Zoe and Kyle, can you tell us about what you've been doing since our last meeting?
Yeah, definitely. And it's great seeing some of your faces again and names as well. But yeah, so Kyle and I are currently interning this summer for the task force. Our goal this summer is to educate the public and also the township committees, various committees and businesses about the climate action plan and ways that they can contribute to those goals and strategies that are outlined in the plan. So far, we've done a couple of presentations. Like Rob mentioned, we presented to the Parks and Preserves Pathways on Monday, or whenever that was, a couple days ago. And earlier, we presented to the Board of Trustees. And then coming up in August, we have the Roads Commission and then the Land Preservation Commission that we'll be presenting to. And we've received good interest from the few committees that we've presented to so far. And we're hoping that the others will follow suit as well. Yeah, Kyle and I are also working on a brochure that we plan to pass out to the public with a bunch of resources and information on ways that they can take action in their own lives. And some of the things that you guys have mentioned tonight already, are some great ideas. So yeah, that's one of the things we're going to ask of the working groups at some point. And I don't know, Kathy might talk more about this, but we're wanting to put together a document, a Word document or something for each of the working groups that contains links or other resources to specific actions that people can take relating to that working group topic. And just have all of those links and resources in one document that we are then going to link to using a QR code that we will put on the brochure.
Yep.
So a lot of steps there, but we've thought that was the easiest way to give access to the most information possible through the brochure. So, yeah. We're also working on the October event that's going to happen at the fire station. I believe that's going to be the initiation or like first introduction of the climate action plan to the public, I guess. And yeah, we're going to have like some fun activities planned. Each working group, we're hoping, could like come up with an idea to kind of showcase their topic and things like related to that topic that people again can apply to their own lives to help the climate. So yeah, I don't know, Kathy, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, that's just that. Those are the next two subjects we're talking about. Is
okay, perfect. Yeah, I didn't want to share too much, but
yeah, that's pretty much good.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Maybe we could get the public involved too, and maybe Pam would want her husband there with the windows, or other ideas that the public might have.
Great idea. Yeah, I like that.
Does Pam think that's a good idea?
Pam better not answer for her husband because I get into too much trouble when I volunteer husband for township stuff.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, but we can put it out there for people that would like to do something like that. That would be helpful, I think. Anyway, so thank you, Zoe and Kyle. You've been doing a great job so far, and we really appreciate everything you've been doing. Next, we need to talk about these resources and resource links that Zoe was talking about. the suggestion, they've put together a rough draft brochure, and it looks really good, but we decided it's at this point a little heavy on just background and a little light on resources to use to figure out things to do. The audience is residents and businesses in Scio Township. And the idea is to communicate that everyone needs to get involved. This is kind of an all hands on deck approach, and there are things everyone can do. And here are some things that you might try out. So we were thinking that each of these working groups could get together in the coming month and talk about a couple of things. One of them being, can you assemble a list of some excellent resources with the idea, what we're going to go to, hopefully, this was Jan's idea, is kind of a web page for each group with a list of resources. Maybe I'm thinking for transportation, maybe there'll be a great article about what you need to consider if you're considering getting an electric vehicle. Maybe an informational page from a local electric or cargo bike store. Maybe some information about upcoming pathways and just information about what the best ways to do things are. But just a collection of helpful resources that people might refer to as they try to, in the case of transportation, ride their bikes or walk more, take the bus more. What are the bus routes? That might be another good connection. And it's the same for each of your working groups. So if you could talk in your groups this month about what kinds of things you would like to include on a web page like that, the idea would be that there'd be a QR code in the brochure that would take people to that page. Questions about that? Makes sense? Is every group represented here? Probably not. I'll figure it out later so I can text people or email people that aren't here. And then the other thing we would like you to do in the coming month before the August meeting is think about this October sustainability event. It's the last Sunday of the month, I believe, in the mid-afternoon at the fire station. It's the event that's taken place there for a while with kind of celebrating Halloween, trick-or-treating. So we would piggyback on that and have an event with some displays. And we need to talk next month about what's that going to look like? Is this going to be more of kind of a country fair kind of thing with some activities to do? Some commercial booths where here you can look at an electric vehicle, here you can look at a cargo bike, here you can look at a composting system, you know, a model of groundwater perhaps, these kinds of things. What do you think in your group? What do you think would be good things to have there? And what kind of a mood would you like at this place? Is it more country fair? Is it more trade fair? Given your audience is probably going to have a lot of young families in it. So thoughts or questions about that?
I have a thought.
Yes.
Go ahead, Marty.
Marty.
Thank you. Yeah. If you join this with something that's going on at the fire station, which has traditionally been Halloween activities and very definitely aimed at little children, I think you're going to miss an opportunity to talk to the adults who are really going to make the difference if we want to engage them. And I'm wondering about the advisability of doing that together. If we shouldn't let the fire station do its thing and seek to have another venue or program, type of program, location even, for our sustainability issues.
Okay. I'm thinking we need Jan's input on this because this was her baby.
Well, she had talked to the chief about this.
Yeah.
As well, so he was amenable to it. And I know, Marty, you have a point. It's going to be a limited cross section of the township, but it might be the first opportunity to have a crowd come through. it wouldn't, for instance, have been good to try to do it in conjunction with the what is it called? The Jackson Road
Right.
Drive. What is it called?
Jackson Road Cruise.
Oh, cruise, right?
Yeah, the cruise. So that was considered and thrown out.
Wasn't enough people there.
Right.
But I think that you're making the assumption that the issue of sustainability is not going to draw the crowd. And so you want to have some other event to bring in the crowd. I think you need to feature sustainability. There's been an awful lot of talk about it, and I think that public awareness is increasing, and I think it's of interest in and of itself. People may be asking themselves, what can I do? Is there anything that little me, with my house and my household, that I can contribute that's going to make a difference? So, we need to be able to elucidate, okay, individual households have so and so much influence on electricity use, on gas, on water safety, and there are a lot of people in the township who have septic tanks. Have they had them checked? The whole information about the importance of a regular checking for septic tanks or water overflow, from rain. Are people do they really have to have that much green lawn in front of their houses? If they have a clear message to them that this is what our big lawns are doing to us, I think that an event that focuses on what I, the little person in this township, can contribute might be of interest. But, that's going to take work to get folks to it. But maybe there is a way to position it. Like, with Charlie, I'm looking at Charlie. That's why. It's a very important recycling, that the recycling happens and that people can reduce the amount of solid waste, or that we have to have some system of composting so that all that food that Americans throw away has a way to become something productive.
Bob, what are you thinking?
Well, I think, Marty, you have a very good point, and I think it goes right along with what Pam was saying earlier, that we have to have things that are doable by the general public. And I think that's what Kathy has been iterating here tonight, and through, and also Jan through her, that we're to come up with ideas like you just said a mouthful. I mean, you said several there that ought to come back from committees. These are the ideas that we would like to have at the October fest, or fest, whatever you want to call it. And you're saying let's have our own, but Jan is asking that we piggyback for the first one on another event. So that's the only difference between what you're saying.
Well, I would take issue with that view. I think she underestimates public awareness of the importance of climate change and what that's doing to us. We're seeing it, I think, this summer in spades.
You think that Jan is underestimating the importance of this?
Yes, if she thinks it has the presentation of the Sustainability Committee has to piggyback off something else just to get attention. I think she is underestimating it.
Okay, Kathy, that's all I had to say.
Okay, Elizabeth.
So I'm new to the group. I don't have a lot of history, but I do think that this approach to kind of, piggybacking on maybe a sort of a traditional event can work well, and it's all in how you bill it. And so all the suggestions that Marty made, could be sort of like information stations, could be, a whole variety of things. Like I think, Bob was pointing out, it's certainly possible to advertise that this is available and this is really unique and it's worth coming if you're not necessarily interested in Halloween or Halloween candy. And by the way, the new fire station has these solar arrays on the roof. And isn't that cool? And learn a little bit more about solar while you're here. So I don't know. And sometimes kids, I don't think we should underestimate kids, because kids are great at encouraging parents to do things like recycle or dispose of things properly. So I think it could work. I think it's all in a matter of us trying to figure out how we can get those information stations that are really critical.
Tim.
Yeah, thank you, Marty. I think you're thinking along the right lines, but I like this idea of piggybacking on the Halloween time at the fire station. There's going to be a lot of parents there, a lot of people from our township who are parents who won't necessarily be watching their kids all the time, and I think they'll want to come over and learn about this stuff that we've been doing if it's if it's presented well. So I think it's a good idea, and I think we should do it. And I want to ask Zoe if that falls into your your job description, so to speak. Is that are you still going to be on this in the fall?
No, Kyle and I actually we're done at the end of the summer interning. But we're just here. We want to help plan some of the events that's going to happen in the fall. Help facilitate that a little bit. One thing I know Jan did mention is the actual activities that we would have would be more focused to kids, fun, spooky. Climate change is the scariest thing right now anyway. More focused towards the kids, and then while the kids are doing an activity or something, the adults that are standing around watching them, that's an opportunity for whoever's running that event to hand out the brochure to the adults, or I don't know, strike up a conversation with them about this cool initiative that they're doing, or that. Yeah,
and to piggyback on that, that's definitely what we talked with Jan about. I think, we'll be here to help through August with planning this, and I think that's a lot of what we'll do once August rolls around. But having, I think one of the first things we said was there's going to be a lot of young families at this. And I mean, that's a great audience to target, especially young parents. And if their kids are off doing, playing cornhole or whatever other games and getting candy like you would at a Halloween event, you could interact with these parents. And I think that's probably the best time to do it, especially since that might coincide with when the plan's being approved.
Yeah.
Charlie.
I think what I'm hearing here is that maybe we need to do 2 events. Bob said something very key when he said first one. And then I just heard Zoe say another key piece, and that was the Halloween event being oriented toward kids rather heavily. Because if we get their attention and we do something kind of cute that they like, the parents are going to notice that. Then maybe we do another event that's just on our stuff. And some of those parents will say, hey, we saw some cool things there. They'll talk to other people about it. And then we can get into things that's a little more oriented along the things that Marty was talking about. Maybe Jeff can do a little compost demo thing. Pam or somebody can show how to make those storm windows, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I know that I've seen in my days as an elementary school teacher, people came through occasionally with models between 2 panes of glass of groundwater systems to show how a plume could travel and things of that sort. And perhaps we could find somebody to do something like that. But the more
We should ask Card.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
Card involved in that.
Mm-hmm. Norm.
One of the events that happens every year is the fall festivals they have out in the farm gardens down there by Celine. And sometimes they have tents set up with various industrial processing and things like that for different kinds of chemical treatments and so on and so forth. I wonder if we could get in something like that where people are cycling through looking for products that do different things.
Like sort of, is that what the Ann Arbor Green Fairs are like?
I don't know that, but I just remember the fall fairs have usually a tent dedicated to that kind of stuff.
We could have a solar company, so
Yep.
being someone who's involved in the intricacies of that. Some, maybe 2 or 3 people offering solar services so that to talk about who you go to when you want to get a solar array on your roof, or if you've decided to have a battery to go with it. What are some of the things you got to think about? Does anybody know how many kilowatt hours you use in a day? Now, that's a key issue as to how much you want in your battery.
Mm-hmm.
And, we could have an informational thing about that somewhere. That looks to me like a part of that, what's going on down in Saline.
Yeah. Okay. Rob. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Since the Halloween party is kid-centric focused, does anybody know a scout troop that needs to earn a badge? That some of these techniques can be taught to them, thereby they learn the process, and they in turn show up at the fire station in various sections to show off what they've learned, and you get a win-win situation and have more potentially kids learn more stuff. That's my thought.
Great idea.
That's great.
Yeah. Rob. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Jan felt that we would be able to also use Township Hall as well as the fire station, which might give us a little bit more flexibility for moving things that weren't family focused into another spot. Maybe. Something we can talk about more in August, I think. But it's sounding to me as though most people are thinking that we should go with this mixed Halloween kind of thing, but maybe consider a follow-up event or 2 or 3.
Oh,
or whatever.
definitely. Yep.
So this would be getting our feet wet, doing this kind of thing, setting up. So if you guys could all meet with your groups over the coming month and figure out some ideas of what might be a good activity to do. Any other questions about that one? So a lot to consider. Norm.
Just one idea. They have tours, bicycle riders all over the different parts of the state for causes. I wonder if we could set one up where people could ride to different aspects of our committees and see things.
Yeah, that might be a good one at some. I'm not sure if it would work at that particular.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that venue necessarily.
Future event.
We'll put Norm in charge of that one.
Yeah. Here's the compost stop, and here's the electrification stop, and so on. Yeah, sort of like interval training. Anyway.
So
yeah, good idea.
Zoe and Kyle, do you have the bandwidth to help plan that? If we do that, make some presentations at the Halloween event at the fire station. I realize you're at the end of August.
Definitely. Yeah, I doubt either of us would be able to be at the actual event, unfortunately. But I think, and Zoe, I don't want to speak out of turn, but we'll be available in August to help out with these ideas if the working groups start to think about this stuff, developing how they could be presented at this event, things like that. We'll definitely be, I think, have the capacity to do that, Zoe. Thoughts?
I had to step away for a second, but am I hearing the potential for us helping out with the presentations during the event?
No, that's not what I have in mind anyway. Just the planning part of it to get the ball rolling and provide some format for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I will still be in the area local when the event is going on, so I could stop by too. But yeah, definitely with the planning. Yeah, we'll help with that. Whatever's needed.
Okay. Let's see. Moving on to the next thing, I guess, calendar. We apparently now have a Planning Commission public hearing on the SCAP on August 28th. So, Bob, we need to be prepared to be there and talk about it at the time, as many of us as can, I would imagine. Bob, can you give us any more idea about what the process is after that?
Well, the first thing is after the public hearing, that then will be taken to the Board of Trustees. Well, actually,
You have to vote on it, don't you?
we do. The Planning Commission has to approve it. There'll be some changes suggested during the public hearing, both by the planning commissioners and by the public, or there may be changes that come out of the discussion with the public. After that's been done, it'll get brought before the Planning Commission, voted on, approved, sent on to the Board of Trustees for their review and approval. So there's several steps to go, but we've got to get the public engaged fully.
Sure. Does it go through a public hearing at the Board of Trustees level as well?
I don't believe it needs to, but so that would be up to them, is what I would say. But I think Jan's probably already talked to them about that. Mm-hmm. And unless it's on the calendar already, I would say it's just the one.
Okay.
Well, the Board of Trustees meetings are open to the public.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But a public hearing, Tim, you probably recall, there's a lot more time for the public to give input and to ask questions. Okay. At just a meeting, a Board of Trustees meeting, they can only speak at the beginning and at the end. And at the end, it's, already acted on by then. So there's not much give and take time for them.
If I remember correctly, I don't think the Board of Trustees in a case like this has to do a public hearing. That's not to say they couldn't if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they have to. I think you're right.
Okay. Just curious. So that's something put on your calendar. August 28th is public hearing at Planning Commission. Sorry.
What time is that on the 28th? Is that normal?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. At Township Hall?
Mm-hmm.
And by Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Newsletter deadlines coming up August 25th. And we hope to have our interns write the next newsletter article again. We had talked earlier that assuming things are going well with this plan for this event, the event would be a good thing as a subject matter for that article. Does the team agree on this? That would be a good choice?
Yes.
Get it played up as much as possible. Okay. I believe that's pretty much all I have here. I jumped ahead of some things. No, not really. Do we have any more public comment that we need to fit in?
I do. Jeff, I just sent you that email, and I swear I thought they were talking about the materials that composting they will not accept starting the January 2024. Yeah, I have to look at this again. Oh, maybe this is.
Pam, I think my son lives in Ann Arbor, and I think what he's told me is that they cut it off during the winter, the composting, collecting the compost. So they cut it off during the winter. Is that right? Because other people must know this too.
January through April is the period, I believe, where they don't do curbside composting.
Right.
Okay.
You can always take it to the drop off, to the composting center.
Okay.
I mean.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's better because I hate seeing where we can't where they whittle down what we can compost and what we can recycle and that sort of thing. So okay, good. News. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment? They did do that presentation, slightly adapted, adjusted, but they did. That was the first one they did. So, yeah. So, I'm feeling. It felt to me like, especially at the Parks Committee, it felt like there was a real sense of we're trying to keep people informed as we're going along, and that's a good thing.
That is one other thing I wanted to mention briefly, Kathy. If any of you have any other ideas of an organization or group or committee in the township that you think would be a good idea for us to present to, then please let us know.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that anybody needs to bring forward for the good of the order?
I guess just as a small update, Jeff had mentioned earlier that at long last, we finally have a meeting scheduled with Will Hathaway and our new manager, Joyce Parker, is going to be there. That's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And we're going to talk about the proposals we have from GFL and Recycle Ann Arbor. And I'm guessing that probably we're going to come up with some combination of the two. And maybe in the case of Recycle, perhaps see if we can change that a little bit from what was proposed. But I sense that we're finally pulling something together. And from what Will's told me, he does want to have something that they can approve this year, like a pilot program, see how it goes. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, good to know.
And we have a materials and waste meeting I'm trying to schedule for the 27th to talk about those ideas for the brochure and the October meeting. So
fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Anything else? Seeing nothing else. Let's see. We have to approve minutes from our June 8th meeting. Can I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay.
I'll support.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Okay. And then we can adjourn. Let's see. It is 7:44. And I guess I don't end recording since I'm not recording. And
We need a motion.
Let's do a motion and do that properly.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Jeff? Second by Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. See you next month. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Great meeting, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you.